These niggas, they ain't working for real. They at the rest house, these niggas, they ain't serving for real. I need it fresh out, you lurking, leave you hurting for real. Who wanna test now? I'm urgent as a...
Peace family, it is me, Dana the Holistic Goddess, and I'm back with another video. So today's video is going to be about the rehydration process of sea moss. I'm actually doing purple sea moss today. I'm gonna do a separate video for how I hydrate my regular Irish sea moss here. I can already tell that between these two, this one's gonna need a little bit more rinsing and cleansing because it's like a lot more dense and compact. As you can see, this is more like spacious. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the two different sea mosses on a plate, and I'm gonna kind of do a close-up visual so you can kind of see what I mean by the purple sea moss is a little bit more dense and compact than the Irish sea moss. This is the difference texture-wise of the purple sea moss, which is here, and the Irish sea moss, which is there. So I'm gonna zoom in and just kind of show you all what I mean by this is a little bit more compact and it's a little bit more dense than the Irish sea moss. And when I squeeze it, it kind of has like a sponginess to it already, and it's completely dried, just like this is completely dried. But but as you can tell with this, it's a little bit more spacious. It's not as compact. It's definitely more of a texture, more of a crunch to it. I wouldn't say more of a texture, but it has some little things from the sea stuck in it and things like that. So this is just a comparison. So you just kind of get a visual of what the purple sea moss looks like versus how the regular Irish sea moss looks. So you can just tell just off of the motions how it moves. It's just different. Today I'm just doing a video on the rehydration process. Now I myself have personally rehydrated the Irish sea moss, which is the golden colored sea moss. This will actually be our first time rehydrating the purple sea moss. So I'm here with you all to take you on this little experiment. Well, yeah, this little experiment. So come on. Also, if you want a little bit more information on sea moss, I do have a video that I recorded, and it is titled Everything That You've Wanted to Know About Sea Moss and my experience with Yaga Lifestyle, because Yaga Lifestyle is who I purchased both sea mosses from, the Irish sea moss and also the purple sea moss. So usually the process that I do with this is basically the same process that you do with the purple sea moss. The Irish sea moss and the purple sea moss steps to rehydration is the same. The reason why I may mention that it's a little bit different this time is because I know that this sea moss, in my experience, or from seeing other people's experience and in my experience, I've seen that this sea moss has, it bulks up and it expands a lot more than the purple sea moss has. So I did have my scale here to show y'all how much I was taking out of the 8-ounce package, but as you can see, like, it's broke, it's not working, needs the battery change, and I don't have that on deck. So I'm gonna just eyeball it. I don't know how much I'm putting in the bowl, but I'm just gonna eyeball it. I'm not gonna use this entire package of sea moss. So over here I have a bowl to soak my sea moss in. I have here a half a gallon or so of distilled water. Some people use spring water, some people use distilled water. I'm using distilled water to rinse my sea moss because I don't want to use tap water that's full of chemicals and all sorts of things, all sorts of unnatural things in the process of my sea moss. So I don't even want that stuff anywhere near, so I'm not gonna use it. And then I'm just gonna have my sea moss. It's really that simple. So I'm gonna pour out a good amount. Not even half of, I'm not even using half of this bag because, mind you, this was full to the top, so I'm only using about that much of my bag. So this is how much sea moss I have here that I'm going to place into my bowl. The plate is not necessary, but for the purpose of this video, I'm using it. So this is what you have, both for the sea moss, and the only thing that I'm gonna do is pour my distilled water over my sea moss. And you want to make sure it's well covered, because it's going to expand some. To me, from seeing other people soak their sea moss, it does not look like it expands as much as the Irish sea moss, but it still does expand. So I'm just gonna really rinse off my sea moss. And this is the first round. And as I'm rinsing, I'm gonna show you what that looks like. And what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm just going to drain the water off of this sea moss. Now with the Irish sea moss, I usually don't drain it. I just usually pour the water over it and leave it until it expands, and then I drain the water off of it. But because this water, as you can see, it has a lot of little, I'm gonna see if I can zoom in on this and get a good shot. But I'm not sure if you can see the dirt settlement at the bottom. I just really want to rinse that, pour off the water, really rinse that to make sure that my sea moss is getting clean. So this is just the rinse. It's not even the rehydrating part, but it has expanded. I lied. It expands in its own way. Had a lot less when I put it in there, and it hasn't even rehydrated fully all the way. So I'm just showing you a quick comparison shot of the sea moss in its dried form versus the sea moss that has just been rinsed. It hasn't been soaked, it's not fully hydrated just yet, but it has been rinsed. As you can see, that's the water in which I just drained off of this. That's just for anyone who's curious in how it looks, you know, the difference in how it expands. I would say that's not the same amount. Yeah, it might be. I think that's about the same amount of seaweed in its dried form versus its wet form. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour some more water over it. I'm probably gonna pour the rest of this, and I'm just gonna soak it. I'm gonna cover it fully because just so I'd rather have too much water than not enough. So I want to make sure I have enough water to cover my sea moss to give it room to expand. So I'm just gonna leave this here. The time is 1:46 p.m. I'm gonna leave my sea moss soaking here in this bowl uncovered for about 8 hours. Is 1:46. So about 9:46, 10 o'clock tonight, I'm gonna come back. I'm going to show you what I have thus far, and also in between time, probably every 2 hours, I'll come back. I'll show you a shot of the bowl and just kind of, you know, update you on how it's looking. It may expand more in appearance, or it may not. We're just gonna see, because like I said, this is my first time working with Purple Seamoss. So I'm going to come back to you periodically every 2 hours, and once it's done at 8 hours, I will show you the final product of the rehydration of the Purple Seamoss, and then I will show you how to make Purple Seamoss gel. Peace, until later guys. Bye guys. It is exactly 3:46, so it's exactly 2 hours later. So this is what I have thus far, as far as sea moss and how it's looking. As you can see, it's showing its like browner color because as it's in the bag and it's dried, it's actually more of like a lilac mix of purple in with some dark purple. But this is what I have thus far, and this is what's shown at 2 hours. And as you can see, it has expanded. It does not look like the little compact amount of sea moss that I originally pulled out of the bag. So it does expand. It expands in its own way, and I keep saying that is because I'll show you the rehydration process of the regular Irish sea moss, and like the limbs on the Irish sea moss are a lot thicker, and I think that's where I keep referring to as it expands in its own way, just because the appearance of this Purple Seamoss is a little bit different, does not exempt it from expanding. So that was just me checking in at 2 hours. I'll probably be back at 4 hours because I don't think much is gonna happen within these next 2 hours. So I probably check in about 8:46. So yeah. Also, I would like to mention, if you do not like the smell of the seaweed, or you don't like the ocean taste that it has, because the Irish sea moss does not have a taste to me when I've used it, and when rehydrating my Irish sea moss, I have not used a lime in this soaking process, but because this is more dense and a lot more compact, it has more of a smell to me personally than the Irish sea moss that I've used. So if you don't like that smell, then you can put a lime, squeeze a lime in here, and then throw the lime in there with the sea moss as it is soaking. That is an option. I've seen people do that. I personally have not done that, and I'm not doing it this round. So I'm just throwing it out there for anybody who you know, has that problem. You know, there's your solution. So I'll see you guys in about 4 hours.